The unusual signals began on a quiet Tuesday morning. At first, the radio astronomers at NASA's Deep Space Listening Station thought their equipment was malfunctioning. The patterns were too regular, too structured to be natural. Within hours, similar reports came in from observatories around the world. Something was moving near Neptune, and it wasn't following the laws of orbital mechanics. Commander James Wilson stood in the Pentagon's Emergency Command Center, his eyes fixed on the massive wall of screens showing various sensor readings. After 20 years in Earth's secret Space Defense Force, he had trained for this moment, but the reality felt different, more real, more dangerous. "Sir, we're detecting multiple objects accelerating toward the inner solar system," reported Lieutenant Brown, her voice steady despite the tension. "Their size suggests artificial construction. Largest object is approximately 3 kilometers in length." Wilson nodded, his gray hair catching the blue light from the screens. "Alert all stations. Begin Protocol Omega." Around the world, hidden facilities rumbled to life. In underground bunkers and mountain fortresses, systems that had been waiting for decades activated. Humanity had long suspected they weren't alone in the universe. They had prepared accordingly. The alien fleet's approach was methodical, almost casual. They clearly didn't expect any resistance from what they probably saw as a primitive world. Their first transmission arrived when they reached Jupiter's orbit. The message played across screens worldwide. "Greetings, beings of Sol 3. You are hereby notified of your integration into the Galactic Empire. Resistance is unnecessary and will result in severe consequences. Prepare for our arrival and subsequent evaluation of your species' usefulness." In the United Nations emergency session, representatives from every nation sat in unusual silence. The plan they had created years ago was clear, but now that the moment had come, doubt crept in. "We all know what's at stake," Wilson addressed the assembly. "Every simulation, every war game we've run shows the same result. If we show weakness now, Earth becomes just another conquered world. We stick to the plan." The vote was unanimous. Across Earth, cities continued their normal activities. Television showed regular programs, radio stations played music, and social media buzzed with cat videos. But in secret facilities, military commands were restructuring, and defense systems were powering up. The alien fleet crossed Saturn's orbit, then Jupiter's. Their messages became more frequent, more demanding. They expected responses, negotiations, perhaps begging. They received nothing but the normal background chatter of a technological civilization. "They're getting nervous," Dr. Miller reported, analyzing the alien transmissions. "Their communication patterns show increasing agitation. They've never encountered this response before." Wilson watched as another demand for Earth's surrender arrived. The Empire's messages now included detailed images of their military might, their vast fleet, their advanced technology. They expected awe. They expected fear. Instead, Earth maintained its silence. The alien fleet passed Mars' orbit. Their scanners must have been working overtime, trying to detect planetary defenses, military installations, anything that would explain Earth's unusual response. They found nothing obvious, just cities, satellites, and what appeared to be a primitive space presence. "They're launching smaller vessels," Lieutenant Brown announced. "Appears to be a standard scouting formation." Wilson allowed himself a small smile. Time to show them why silence can be dangerous. As the alien scouts approached Earth's moon, they suddenly detected something their long-range scanners had missed: hidden bases on the moon's dark side. Weapon platforms disguised as communication satellites, a defense grid that had been invisible until now. The Empire's command ship transmitted one final message: "Your primitive defenses are noted but insufficient. Prepare for." The transmission cut off mid-sentence as Earth activated its first line of defense. Not weapons, but something far more basic: a complete communications blackout. Every transmission, every signal, every broadcast from Earth ceased simultaneously. In the command center, Wilson watched as confusion spread through the alien fleet. Their ships began moving erratically, trying to re-establish contact with Earth. They had never encountered a civilization that could simply vanish from their sensors. Now they know, Wilson said quietly, that they're not dealing with helpless primitives. Now they know we can do things they didn't expect. And now they have to wonder, what else can we do? Earth's silence spoke volumes. It said, we are not afraid. We are not impressed. And most importantly, we are not your usual prey. The real battle was about to begin. The Empire's diplomatic vessel was a sight to behold. Nearly a mile long, its silver hull gleamed in the sunlight as it broke away from the main fleet. The ship's design screamed power and authority, meant to awe primitive species into submission. Commander Wilson watched its approach from Earth's hidden command center. They're trying to intimidate us with their prettiest ship, he said, his voice carrying a hint of amusement. Time to show them our own style. The diplomatic vessel crossed the Mars orbit line. The boundary Earth had secretly decided would be their warning line. As soon as it passed that invisible marker, Wilson gave the order. Launch the grading package. Deep in the asteroid belt, hidden machines stirred to life. For decades, Earth had been quietly moving and hollowing out asteroids, turning them into weapons that no one would suspect. Now hundreds of these asteroids began to move, their paths carefully calculated. The Empire's ship detected the movement too late. Suddenly, it found itself surrounded by a dense field of tumbling space rocks, each one precisely controlled by Earth's gravity manipulation systems. They're sending a message, Lieutenant Brown reported, monitoring the alien communications. They're demanding we stop this primitive display immediately. Wilson nodded to Dr. Miller, who sat at her control station. Show them primitive. Dr. Miller's fingers danced across her console. The asteroids stopped their random movements. Instead, they began to arrange themselves into a massive shape, spelling out two words in letters hundreds of miles tall. No HFY. The Empire's ship froze in space. For several minutes, no movement or transmission came from the vessel. Then suddenly, a burst of angry communications erupted. They're threatening to destroy our crude rocks with their weapons, Brown translated, trying to hide a smile. Let's show them what crude rocks can do, Wilson ordered. At his command, one of the smaller asteroids accelerated, not toward the Empire's ship, but past it. The rock's speed increased until it was moving at a significant fraction of light speed. It passed the diplomatic vessel at a safe distance, but close enough to demonstrate its power. The asteroid impacted a small, uninhabited moon of Mars. The explosion was visible from Earth with the naked eye. Complete silence fell across all communication channels. That, Wilson said quietly, was one of our small rocks. The diplomatic vessel began a careful retreat. Around it, the asteroid field maintained its message. The words, no HFY, still hanging in space like a cosmic warning sign. Back in the main fleet, the Empire's ships were moving into attack formations. They clearly weren't used to being denied. They're preparing for a show of force, Dr. Miller reported, studying the sensor readings. Standard Imperial tactics. They'll try to overwhelm us with numbers. Wilson walked to the main tactical display, where a hologram showed Earth's complete defense system. Thousands of points of light represented their hidden weapons, defensive platforms, and gravity control systems. Each one had been carefully built and positioned over decades, waiting for this moment. Send them one last message, he ordered. Lieutenant Brown typed quickly, and a new transmission went out, the first direct message Earth had sent since the Empire arrived. It was short and simple. Your weapons are impressive. Ours are already aimed. To demonstrate this point, hundreds of asteroids throughout the solar system began to glow with faint blue light, the sign of gravity drive activation. Each one was positioned to strike precise points in the Empire's fleet formation. The Empire's response was predictable. They launched their minor invasion fleet, about 100 ships of various sizes, all bristling with weapons. "They still think we're bluffing," Dr. Miller said, shaking her head. "Then let's show them we're not." Wilson pressed a button on his command console, opening a channel to all Earth defense stations. "All units, execute Defense Plan Alpha. Show them exactly why Earth says no." As the Empire's ships advanced, they failed to notice something important. The asteroids spelling out "No HFY" had started to move. Each massive rock was now on an exact collision course, powered by humanity's gravity drives and carrying enough kinetic energy to split a planet. The Empire was about to learn that humanity's warning shot was just the beginning. The real defense of Earth was about to begin, and it would be anything but primitive. The Empire's attack began with a flash of light that turned the dark side of Mars into day. 100 warships emerged from their faster-than-light jump, weapons already charged and targeting systems active. They expected a quick victory. They were wrong. Multiple hostile ships detected, Lieutenant Brown announced in Earth's command center. "They're launching fighters." Commander Wilson stood calmly, watching the tactical display. "Begin countdown." "Let them get comfortable." The Empire's ships moved forward in perfect formation, their golden hulls gleaming in the sunlight. Thousands of smaller fighter craft poured from their hangars, forming attack patterns that had conquered hundreds of worlds. For 5 minutes, Earth did nothing. The Empire's commanders probably thought they had scared humanity into paralysis. Their ships crossed the Mars orbit with growing confidence, their sensors detecting no resistance. Then Wilson smiled. "Time's up. Show them what Earth has been hiding." Across the solar system, space itself seemed to ripple. Hundreds of hidden defense platforms dropped their camouflage fields. They had been there all along, invisible to even the Empire's best sensors. Some were disguised as asteroids, others as simple communication satellites. Now they revealed their true nature. "All platforms, open fire," Wilson commanded. The Empire's perfect formation broke apart as Earth's first volley struck. They hadn't expected such accurate fire from such primitive weapons. They definitely hadn't expected their shields to fail against simple kinetic projectiles moving at near-light speed. "First wave successful," Dr. Miller reported. "Enemy shields are calibrated for energy weapons, not our primitive bullets." 3 Empire ships exploded before they could adjust their defenses. The others scattered, their formation falling into chaos. Their fighters tried to regroup, but found themselves flying through clouds of small metal balls. Simple BBs accelerated to incredible speeds by Earth's gravity weapons. "Enemy fleet is splitting into 3 groups," Brown reported. "They're trying to find gaps in our defense network." Wilson nodded. "Activate the inner defense ring." Between Mars and Earth, another layer of defenses revealed themselves. These weren't platforms or weapons. They were minefields. But these mines didn't explode. Instead, they created zones where faster-than-light travel became impossible and normal engines worked backwards. 5 more Empire ships were lost when they flew into these fields, their own engines tearing them apart. "Sir," Brown's voice was excited. "They're launching their main weapon, some kind of energy pulse that's supposed to disable all electronic systems." Wilson looked at Dr. Miller, who nodded. "Just as we expected. Activate the Faraday shield." Around Earth, thousands of small satellites linked together, creating a web of electromagnetic protection. The Empire's pulse hit this shield and scattered harmlessly into space. "Impossible." The Empire's transmission boomed through the command center. "Your technology level cannot have these defenses." Wilson pressed a button on his chair. "This is Commander Wilson of Earth Defense. You're right. A few years ago, we couldn't have done this. But we've been watching you for decades, learning your weaknesses, preparing our defenses. Every world you conquered taught us something new about how not to lose." The battle continued for hours. The Empire's ships fought with growing desperation, using tactics that had won them 1,000 worlds. But Earth's defenses had been built specifically to counter these tactics. When the Empire tried to use their advanced AI systems to hack Earth's networks, they found themselves facing simple, unhackable mechanical computers. When they attempted to deploy their robot soldiers, Earth's electromagnetic pulses shut them down instantly. Enemy fleet at 60% losses, Brown reported. They're beginning to retreat. Wilson watched as the mighty Empire fleet turned away from Earth, their formation ragged and broken. Of their 100 ships, only 40 remained, and many of those were damaged. "Should we pursue?" asked Dr. Miller. Wilson shook his head. "No, let them run. Let them tell the Empire exactly what happened here. Let them explain how their mighty fleet was defeated by primitive weapons and simple tactics." As the Empire ships fled, Wilson looked at the final casualty reports. Earth's defense network was largely intact, their hidden weapons still ready. And they hadn't even revealed their best defenses yet. "Send a message to all Earth forces," Wilson ordered. "The first battle is over. But the real war is just beginning." In the depths of space, the retreating Empire fleet carried with them a message that would shake their civilization to its core. Earth was not weak. Earth was not primitive. And Earth was definitely not surrendering. 3 days after the first battle, Commander Wilson walked through Earth's newest revealed secret, a massive underground shipyard hidden beneath the Pacific Ocean. Huge vessels hung in zero-gravity chambers, their black hulls designed to absorb all scanning signals. "The stealth fleet is ready, sir," Captain Rogers reported, walking beside Wilson. "All 20 ships are equipped with the gravity drives we copied from the Empire's old wrecks." Wilson stopped in front of the largest ship, named Shadow of Earth. Its design was nothing like the Empire's ships. Where they built tall, shining vessels to show their power, Earth's ships were flat, dark, and practically invisible. "How long until they realize we've been studying their crashed ships for the past 50 years?" Wilson asked. "They already suspect something." Dr. Miller joined them, holding a tablet showing Empire communications they had intercepted. "Their leaders are asking how we learned to control gravity so well. They think someone gave us the technology." Wilson smiled. "They still don't understand. We didn't need anyone to give us technology. We just needed to know it was possible." Alarms suddenly blared through the facility. Lieutenant Brown's voice came over the speakers. "Commander to control room immediately. The Empire's second wave has arrived." In the control room, the tactical display showed a much larger fleet emerging near Jupiter. 200 ships this time, led by what looked like one of the Empire's sector command vessels. "They've adapted their shields," Dr. Miller reported, studying the data. "Our kinetic weapons won't work as well this time." "Good thing that's not our only trick," Wilson said. Captain Rogers launched the stealth fleet. "Dr. Miller, activate our cyber warfare systems." Across Earth's hidden facilities, teams of programmers began their attacks. Not with complex AI or advanced algorithms, but with simple, brutal code designed to overwhelm and crash the Empire's systems. "Sir, they're trying to access our networks," Brown reported. "Let them," Wilson ordered. When the Empire's AI systems connected to Earth's computers, they found something unexpected. Instead of complex networks to hack, they found simple, isolated systems running on basic code. It was like trying to hack a calculator. There was nothing to hack. Meanwhile, Earth's programmers attacked the Empire's overcomplicated systems with waves of simple but overwhelming data. Ship after ship lost control of their computers. "Stealth fleet in position," Rogers reported from his command ship. "They still haven't detected us." Wilson nodded. "Begin Operation Blackout." The stealth ships activated their gravity drives all at once, but instead of moving, they created a web of gravitational distortions around the Empire fleet. The effect was immediate and devastating. Empire ships suddenly found their artificial gravity failing. Their fancy targeting systems, designed to work in normal space, couldn't handle the chaotic gravitational fields. Their energy weapons fired but bent in impossible directions, missing their targets. "Enemy fleet is in disarray," Brown reported. trying to hide her excitement. Their flagship is requesting communication. The Empire's admiral appeared on the main screen, his alien features twisted in what might have been confusion or anger. "How?" he demanded. "How do you have technology that matches ours?" "We don't," Wilson replied calmly. "Our technology isn't as advanced as yours. We just found simpler ways to do the same things. You build complex gravity generators. We learn to redirect natural gravitational fields. You create AI battle computers. We use simple, unbreakable code. You make your ships bigger and more powerful. We make ours invisible." As if to prove his point, the stealth fleet finally revealed itself, appearing like black holes in space around the Empire's ships. Their weapons weren't as powerful as the Empire's, but they didn't need to be. They were close enough to target vital systems with perfect accuracy. "Last chance," Wilson said to the Empire Admiral. "Retreat, or find out what else we've been working on." The Empire fleet began to withdraw, their mighty ships limping away through the disrupted space. They had lost 30 vessels without destroying a single Earth ship. "They'll be back," Dr. Miller said quietly, "with even more ships." Wilson watched the enemy fleet retreat. "Yes, they will. And we'll be ready, because they still haven't seen our real weapons yet." In the darkness of space, Earth's stealth fleet disappeared again, becoming one with the void. The next battle would be even harder, but humanity had shown that sometimes the simplest solutions were the most effective. And they were just getting started. News travels fast, even in space. The Empire's second defeat at Earth's hands spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In the Empire's central command chamber, the Grand Marshal slammed his fist on the table. "Impossible," he roared. "How can one primitive world resist us this long?" Meanwhile, on Earth's lunar base, Commander Wilson was watching intercepted transmissions from across the Empire's territory. Each screen showed different alien species, all discussing the same thing: Earth's successful resistance. "It's working exactly as we planned," Admiral Thompson said, entering the room. His fleet had just returned from a bold mission, destroying 3 of the Empire's main supply lines. "How many ships did we lose?" Wilson asked. "None." Thompson smiled. "Their supply ships never saw us coming. Earth's stealth technology works even better than we hoped." Dr. Miller rushed into the room, holding new data readings. "Commander, our deep space sensors are picking up something big. The Empire is gathering their main fleet, over 500 ships." Wilson nodded calmly. "They're finally taking us seriously. But that's not what has them really worried, is it?" "No," Miller agreed. "They're more concerned about the rebellion starting in their outer territories. 3 different species have already destroyed their Empire control centers." The room's main screen showed various reports from across the galaxy. Planets that had been under Empire control for centuries were starting to resist. They had seen Earth, a supposedly primitive world, stand up to the Empire. Now they knew it was possible. "Sir," Lieutenant Brown called from her station, "the Empire is broadcasting a galaxy-wide message. They're offering Earth a deal." The Grand Marshal's image appeared on the main screen. He looked less confident than before. "People of Earth," he began, "we acknowledge your unexpected capabilities. The Empire offers you a place as equals, not subjects. Join us, share your military secrets, and we can end this conflict." Wilson stood up. "Send our response." The reply was simple: a detailed list of every crime the Empire had committed against other species, along with proof. The data had been collected over decades by Earth's hidden observation posts throughout the galaxy. "Broadcast this to every world in Empire space," Wilson ordered. "They'll attack with everything they have now," Thompson warned. "Good." Wilson pressed a button, revealing a hologram of the solar system. Thousands of small dots appeared, surrounding Earth in a complex web. "Because now we can show them our real defense system." As if on cue, alarms blared. The Empire's main fleet had appeared at the edge of the solar system. 500 ships strong, the largest attack fleet in Imperial history. All stations, activate the FTL disruptors, Wilson commanded. Across the solar system, hidden devices powered up. Earth had discovered something the Empire had missed, a way to completely stop faster-than-light travel within a star system. The Empire fleet suddenly found itself stuck in normal space, forced to travel at sublight speeds. What would have been a quick attack would now take days. Send the message to all resistance forces, Wilson ordered. Throughout the galaxy, oppressed species received Earth's transmission. Detailed plans for building FTL disruptors, stealth systems, and gravity weapons, everything they needed to fight back. The Empire made one big mistake, Wilson said, watching the slow advance of the enemy fleet. They thought being advanced meant being complicated. They forgot that simple solutions often work best. In the following hours, reports flooded in from across the galaxy. A dozen worlds had already built and activated FTL disruptors using Earth's plans. The Empire's mighty fleets found themselves trapped in different systems, unable to help each other. Sir, Brown reported with a smile, the Empire's outer territories are declaring independence. Their forces are in chaos. Wilson watched the tactical display as the Empire's main fleet crawled toward Earth. They still thought this was just about defending one planet. They didn't understand that Earth's real plan had always been bigger. Send one last message to the Grand Marshal, Wilson ordered. Tell him, this is what happens when you threaten Earth. We don't just defend ourselves. We make sure you can never threaten anyone again. The battle for Earth was about to become the battle for galactic freedom, and humanity had been preparing for this moment for a very long time. The Empire's main fleet hung in space, trapped halfway between Mars and Jupiter. Their 500 ships had been stuck there for 3 days, unable to use faster-than-light drives because of Earth's disruptor field. But they weren't retreating. Instead, they were gathering into attack formation. In Earth's command center, Commander Wilson studied the tactical display. They're getting desperate, he said. Time to show them why. Lieutenant Brown's console lit up with urgent messages. Sir, we're receiving transmissions from across the galaxy. The freed worlds are sending video proof of their successful rebellions. Wilson nodded to Dr. Miller. Show everyone what's happening. Across every communication channel in the galaxy, including the Empire's secure networks, videos began playing. They showed Empire bases falling, prison camps being liberated, slave worlds breaking free, all using Earth's simple but effective technology. Look at these numbers, Admiral Thompson said, reviewing the reports. 37 worlds have already broken free. The Empire has lost control of their outer regions. The Grand Marshal's face appeared on the main screen, his usual confidence replaced by barely controlled rage. What have you done? He demanded. Wilson stood calmly. We've given the galaxy something you never did. The truth. And hope. As if to prove his point, more messages flooded in. Different alien species, all sharing their stories of Empire cruelty. Evidence of destroyed civilizations. Proof of stolen resources. Records of enslaved populations. Your empire wasn't built on strength, Wilson continued. It was built on fear and lies. We just helped everyone see that. The Grand Marshal's response was predictable. All ships, attack. Destroy Earth at any cost. The Empire fleet surged forward, but Earth was ready. Hidden platforms throughout the asteroid belt activated, creating a web of gravitational distortions. The Empire's neat formation broke apart as ships were pulled in different directions. Launch Operation Unity, Wilson commanded. From behind Earth's moon, a new fleet appeared. But these weren't Earth ships. They were vessels from the newly freed worlds, built using Earth's designs, simple, effective, and nearly invisible to Empire sensors. All Allied ships engage as planned, Admiral Thompson broadcast. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Empire ships found themselves attacked from all sides by vessels they couldn't detect. Their complex shield systems failed against simple weapons they'd never considered a threat. "Sir," Brown reported, "the Empire's fleet is splitting up. They're trying to retreat." But retreat was impossible. More ships were arriving, not to attack, but to broadcast. Vessels from dozens of species positioned themselves around the battle, recording everything. Every Empire defeat, every failed attack, every ship lost to primitive weapons was being shown to the entire galaxy. "Message from the Resistance leaders," Brown announced. "They're asking permission to broadcast from Earth." Wilson smiled. "Put them through. Let everyone see where freedom began." The broadcast showed Earth, not as a primitive world, but as a planet that had outthought the Empire. They showed the underground cities where weapons had been developed, the hidden factories that had built defenses, the training centers where humans had prepared for this day. "Commander," Dr. Miller called out, "the Empire's inner worlds are revolting. Their own population is turning against them." The Grand Marshal's ship tried one last desperate attack. It charged straight at Earth, weapons firing. In response, Earth revealed its final surprise, a planetary shield that simply redirected the energy weapons back at their source. "Send the final message," Wilson ordered. Every screen in the galaxy displayed Earth's words. "To all peoples under Empire control, you are no longer alone. Earth stands with you. Today we prove that intelligence beats force, preparation beats arrogance, and unity beats empire." The Empire's fleet was in full retreat now, but they had nowhere to go. Their own worlds were rejecting them. Their slave planets were breaking free. Their complex society was falling apart in the face of simple truth. "Sir," Brown reported with a smile, "the Empire's inner council is calling. They want to discuss surrender terms." Wilson looked at the tactical display, where hundreds of dots showed newly freed worlds. "Tell them we'll discuss terms, but not just with Earth. They'll have to face every world they ever try to conquer." The galaxy was changing, and it had all started because one primitive planet had dared to say, "No entry." 1 month after the Empire's surrender, Commander Wilson stood in the newly built Galactic Assembly on Earth. Representatives from over 200 formerly enslaved worlds filled the massive chamber. The Empire's delegation sat in a small corner, their once grand uniforms now plain and simple. "The last Empire stronghold surrendered this morning," Admiral Thompson reported to the assembly. "The galaxy is officially free." Cheers erupted from the gathered species. Some had been under Empire control for centuries. Others had nearly been wiped out. Now they all sat together as equals. "But that's not why we're here today," Wilson said, stepping to the main platform. "We're here because Earth has one last secret to share." Dr. Miller activated the chamber's hologram system. Above the delegates, an image appeared showing a massive structure hidden inside Earth's sun. 30 years ago, we discovered something in our star's energy pattern," Wilson explained. "The Empire hadn't just conquered worlds. They had built a hidden network to steal energy from stars across the galaxy. That's how they powered their massive fleets." The delegates muttered in surprise. Even the Empire representatives looked shocked. This had been one of their most closely guarded secrets. "But Earth found a way to disrupt this network," Dr. Miller continued. "We could have used it at any time to shut down their entire fleet. We could have won this war in a day." "Then why didn't you?" asked one of the alien delegates. Wilson smiled. "Because winning wasn't enough. We needed to show every world that they could fight back. That simple solutions and determination could beat even the most advanced empire." Lieutenant Brown stepped forward with a data crystal. "This contains the plans for our solar energy technology. It's not as advanced as the Empire's system, but it's safer, more stable, and can't be used to control other worlds. We're sharing this with everyone," Wilson announced, "along with all our other developments. No more secrets, no more hidden technologies. Every world gets the same chance to grow, to develop, to protect themselves." The assembly erupted in discussion. The Empire representatives looked particularly uncomfortable. They had never imagined giving away technological advantages. But Earth has one request, Wilson continued, and the room fell silent. These gifts come with responsibility. We ask every world to sign the Freedom Accord. The main screen displayed a simple document. Its rules were clear. No world may conquer another. All species have the right to develop without interference. Technology must be shared for peaceful purposes. Any world that breaks these rules faces united opposition from all others. We beat the Empire by working together, Wilson said. Now we need to build something better the same way. The voting was unanimous. Even the Empire worlds agreed. They had seen what unity could accomplish. As the assembly closed, Wilson walked through Earth's Defense Command Center one last time. The screen showed ships from 100 worlds working together to dismantle the Empire's war machines. Former slave worlds were building new cities with Earth's gravity technology. Species that had been enemies under Empire rule were now trading and helping each other. Hard to believe it all started with 2 words. Dr. Miller said, joining him. No entry. Wilson nodded. Sometimes the simplest message is the strongest. Sir, Lieutenant Brown called from her station. Deep space sensors are picking up something. There might be other empires out there, beyond our galaxy. Wilson looked at the star map, now filled with free worlds working together. Let them come, he said. They'll find something they've never seen before. A galaxy united not by force or fear, but by choice. Admiral Thompson smiled. And if they don't like that, then we'll send them the same message we sent the Empire. Wilson looked out at Earth, no longer hiding its strength, no longer pretending to be primitive. Sometimes the best way to keep peace is to be ready for war. As the sun set on Earth, ships from 100 worlds patrolled the solar system. But they weren't conquest fleets or invasion forces. They were allies, friends, equals, all because one primitive world had dared to stand up and say no to an empire. The galaxy had learned a powerful lesson. Never underestimate a species that seems primitive. Sometimes, the simplest solutions are the most powerful. And Earth would always be ready to prove that point again.